Hold on to your seats. The fun and excitement of duckpin bowling is rolling your way. It's time for Duckpin Magic.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Duckpin Magic. I'm Mike Sella, with me, Joe Rainier. And Joe, we've got the men pros of the Duckpin Pro Tour, and it's the big event, the Masters, the one that culminates the season.
Well, it's definitely our most prestigious event, and the bowlers look forward to this all year. And Fair Lanes, along with Pat Teague and her people here at Fair Lanes Westview, have done just a super job, and I know we're going to see some big scores.
$25,000 total prize fund, $5,000 at stake in first prize money, and we'll be back to meet the bowlers and get our first match underway right after this.
It's exciting, it's entertaining, it's challenging, it's fun. It's Duckpin Magic. Duckpin bowling is lots of fun for the whole family. There's no need to be an expert. Duckpin bowling is easy to learn, but it's the challenge that'll keep you coming back. Even little hands can control the ball in duckpin bowling. Join a league or we'll help you start one. And with duckpin bowling, there's more bowling for your buck. Discover duckpin bowling and you'll discover Duckpin Magic at any of these locations.
Hello, we'd like to clear up some misconceptions about duckpin bowling at Fair Lanes. This is a duck. This is a duck pin. Note the absence of webbed feet. This is a flock of ducks. This is a flock of duck pins. The object of duck pins is to hurl 3 balls, bang, 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 and knock them all down. Exhilarating. The object of ducks is to be ducks. Now you may proceed to Fair Lanes. We're quite sure you'll find duck pinning everything it's quacked up to be. Sorry.
It's exciting, it's entertaining, it's challenging, it's fun. It's Duckpin Magic. Duckpin bowling is lots of fun for the whole family. There's no need to be an expert. Duckpin bowling is easy to learn, but it's the challenge that'll keep you coming back. Even little hands can control the ball in duckpin bowling. Join a league or we'll help you start one. And with duckpin bowling, there's more bowling for your buck. Discover duckpin bowling and you'll discover Duckpin Magic at any of these locations.
Hello, we'd like to clear up some misconceptions about duckpin bowling at Fair Lanes. This is a duck. This is a duck pin. Note the absence of webbed feet. This is a flock of ducks. This is a flock of duck pins. The object of duck pins is to hurl 3 balls, bang, 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 and knock them all down. Exhilarating. The object of ducks is to be ducks. Now you may proceed to Fair Lanes. We're quite sure you'll find duck pinning everything it's quacked up to be. Sorry.
It's exciting, it's entertaining, it's challenging, it's fun. It's Duckpin Magic. Duckpin bowling is lots of fun for the whole family. There's no need to be an expert. Duckpin bowling is easy to learn, but it's the challenge that'll keep you coming back. Even little hands can control the ball in duckpin bowling. Join a league or we'll help you start one. And with duckpin bowling, there's more bowling for your buck. Discover duckpin bowling and you'll discover Duckpin Magic at any of these locations.
Hello, we'd like to clear up some misconceptions about duckpin bowling at Fair Lanes. This is a duck. This is a duck pin. Note the absence of webbed feet. This is a flock of ducks. This is a flock of duck pins. The object of duck pins is to hurl 3 balls, bang, 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 and knock them all down. Exhilarating. The object of ducks is to be ducks. Now you may proceed to Fair Lanes. We're quite sure you'll find duck pinning everything it's quacked up to be. Sorry.
Welcome back to Duckpin Magic. Mike Sella with Joe Rainier. Our first match features Steve Richmond and Danny Shipley. Danny from Catonsville, Maryland. Danny's a Pro Tour winner. In fact, his son Doug was the 1989 Masters champ. Was the defending champ up until he got knocked out of the
He come up short on the
head-to-head
qualifying,
final.
Mike?
Yeah, well, he was in the qualifying, made the 30-man field.
But
but was knocked out of the field. You get to that stage, it's a tough go. A lot of good bowling.
Both Danny and Doug had 200 games in the qualifying.
Yep. In fact, Doug's 231 was the high in the tournament thus far. Steve Richmond will step in out of Warwick, Rhode Island. Oh. Push through the middle. Steve is a former bowler of the year on the Pro Tour, a Pro Tour winner as well.
Tell you, Steve's been on thin ice all weekend. He was fortunate to shoot 15.22, which is actually a super score, averaging 152 for the 10 games. And he was setting 30th after 2 shifts, and no one on the last shift, which consisted of 15, 16 bowlers, beat that score, which is very unusual. We generally put as many as 30% of the last shift in the qualifying for whatever reason.
In fact, we'll see a number of bowlers of the year, current and past, coming up during the next several weeks. He just took a look at the score of this match.
Well, the fact is you put a big tournament up there and the big names usually show up. It's no different than any other sport. I don't know, have we run down from top to bottom who we're going to see, Mike? You might do a lot better job with names than I do because you deal with them all weekend.
Well, we'll have such people as Jeff Piles out of Hyattsville, Maryland, Swede Lavers, Ken Mumaw, Wes O'Donnell, Rich Eaton, Eddie Darling, Tom Clauson, Dale Guess. Chuck Tomney will be coming up a little bit later on today.
Did Chuck have a start or what?
That was a pretty incredible 4 games that he put together, averaging nearly a 200 a game. He ended up with 785 after his first 2 games, and in fact, in first 4 games rather. In fact, the lowest game he had was a 191 in those 4 games. So,
only shot, almost averaged, as you mentioned, 200, and only shot 200 once.
Right.
I mean, that is unbelievable.
Yeah, he had a 193, 191, 202, and whatever the other 190 had to be.
I'd have loved to have the box score here to go over, because I just think that what you would see, hey, nice shot, Danny, 5-7, he slides it. Frame number 6, both bowlers spare. Danny with a 21-pin lead over Steve Richmond.
And the thing is, Chuck actually missed a couple of singles in there somewhere. He could have actually added more on his, and he had a couple of 2 fills on spares, so he really did a unbelievable
bad
start.
And averaged almost 200, right? Of course, he probably made 50 singles too.
Oh yeah, he made his share as well.
I talked to a bowler after yesterday that bowled with him, on the lanes with him, and he said, I've never witnessed anything in my life. As you see, Danny tripped a big pin out there.
Yeah, it sure did. Not only did it help on his count, but now it gives him a good spare opportunity here. Well, I think what happened to Chuck is that after the first 4 games, he sort of realized what he had done, and the pressure, he put a lot of pressure on himself as Danny picks up the spare, and you know, he's sitting there, he's saying, geez, I'm almost averaging 200 for 4 games, and what are the possibilities? And then he got nervous, you know.
Well, a little nervous, and I would say that the adrenaline was running so high that he was probably throwing the ball 30% faster than he should be throwing it. I mean, how do you back off when you know, we get in a groove like that maybe for a game or 2 sometimes as pro bowlers, you know, and you throw 20 frames and every ball, you just feel it. But to bowl 4 games and have everything happen your way, it's just...
Chuck ended up with, I think, 1604 for the 10 games. See, Steve is untracked a little bit here. And after the first 4 games, a lot of people were talking 10-game world record, which is 1760, held by DPBA pro Jeff Ferrand. And everybody said, well, that's fine, but he still got to throw 1,000 for 6 games, so he still had to average well over 150
a game for a 3-game set twice, right? That shows you how big that set is.
Yeah. So when people start talking world records and you know going for a perfect 300 game or whatever, it's a long, tough road to haul. I mean, you've really got to have a consistent, especially in a 10-game set. That's a real long period of time.
Well, I tell you, you could sit and talk and really enjoy a conversation on some of these records and how phenomenal they are.
Steve Richmond jumps up and puts 2 marks back to back, and all of a sudden we have a match here.
103 plus for Danny in the 7th frame, 99 plus in the 8th for Steve Richmond. So we're closing in on the end of the game, but the score is closing up a little bit too. It's a pretty ball. Once again, Danny looks smooth. He's really just sort of laying it out on the lane, letting the ball do the work.
Yeah, he bowled well all weekend. Got another one. Oh, the whole family bowled pretty well. Danny bowled well, Doug bowled well, and Jackie Shipley, little girl, was winner in the Children's Pro-Am event held here at Fair Lanes Westview. So
Danny's granddaughter,
yeah.
and Debbie, his daughter-in-law,
Yeah.
also a pro bowler.
Sure.
So it's inbred there, huh?
well, they talk about bowling being a family game. That's certainly the best example you could portray. And there's a strike. You're right, he's very smooth out there, and the ball is finding the mark.
Looks very comfortable. 142 plus in the 8th, and Steve's got to go to the big one right here. With all strikes, Steve could only, and he got one there, a little help. Steve makes those things happen. Not that he's going to throw enough of them to pull this game out, but many times I've watched it.
It's,
119 plus for Steve in the 9th frame, and a 23-pin lead for Danny with 1 frame to go. So this has to be a strike.
It's interesting to see the expression on the better bowler or the Pro Tour bowler's face when they get a strike like that. They didn't hit the ball just quite well. It's a little sort of a sheepish grin, like, well, if I got to take it, I'll take it, but that's not something that I really want.
I hope they don't make me give it back, is what they're really thinking. You know, as Steve finishes up here, and Danny will be going on to bowl Chuck Tomney, who we were speaking about. I bowled with Jeff Piles when he set the 7-game world record. It's 1320 something, but his last 5 games, he shot over 1,000. He averaged over 200 for 5 games, and it was just the most incredible thing I've ever seen.
Now Steve finishes up with a 134, and Danny will run out the string, trying to add on to his total.
Danny could make 190 here with a couple strikes in the 10th.
Well, how about a double? Maybe he heard you.
Can't make 200. We can't make 200, Mike. We can get to 192 if he would throw 2 more like that. That's his 2nd double of the game. 3 spares and a double here the last 5 frames.
Yeah, he waited for the strike ball to come back. Who can blame him?
That's right. Wish I would have borrowed that.
How about another one?
Don't start thinking you'd like to save them, Danny. Just go ahead, keep throwing.
Yeah, just enjoy it while you got it going, right?
8 on this ball would give him a nice 190 start. I tell you, Mike, my prediction, and I'm going to go out 4 weeks or so and say that Kenny Moomaw is a bowler that's been on the tour for probably 20 years. Has 1 more, 2 more, 3 more, 191, Mike, as he finishes
Fine
with a
game.
double in 9, actually a triple in 9.
And so that's it. Danny Shipley wins the first one, 191, 134. He'll be back to take on Chuck Tomney when we return right after this.
Hello, we'd like to clear up some misconceptions about duckpin bowling at Fair Lanes. This is a duck. This is a duck pin. Note the absence of webbed feet. This is a flock of ducks. This is a flock of duck pins. The object of duck pins is to hurl 3 balls, bang, 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 and knock them all down. Exhilarating. The object of ducks is to be ducks. Now you may proceed to Fair Lanes. We're quite sure you'll find duck pinning everything it's quacked up to be. Sorry.
It's exciting, it's entertaining, it's challenging, it's fun. It's Duckpin Magic. Duckpin bowling is lots of fun for the whole family. There's no need to be an expert. Duckpin bowling is easy to learn, but it's the challenge that'll keep you coming back. Even little hands can control the ball in duckpin bowling. Join a league or we'll help you start one. And with duckpin bowling, there's more bowling for your buck. Discover duckpin bowling and you'll discover Duckpin Magic at any of these locations.
Hello, we'd like to clear up some misconceptions about duckpin bowling at Fair Lanes. This is a duck. This is a duck pin. Note the absence of webbed feet. This is a flock of ducks. This is a flock of duck pins. The object of duck pins is to hurl 3 balls, bang, 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 and knock them all down. Exhilarating. The object of ducks is to, well, to be ducks. Now you may proceed to Fair Lanes. We're quite sure you'll find duck pinning everything it's quacked up to be. Sorry.
Looking for something fun to do? How about bowling? Bowl at Thunderhead Bowl for the best in duck pin and 10-pin bowling at 2 locations, both Westminster and Tomney Town. You can enjoy the league opportunities, which are always available for all ages at Thunderhead Bowl. And both locations are open 7 days a week with a snack bar and restaurant specials to ease the hunger as you have fun. The Pro Shop has a complete line of bowling equipment and accessories designed to improve your game. If you'd like information on open bowling, adult and youth leagues, contact Thunderhead Bowl, the family fun place.
It's exciting, it's entertaining, it's challenging, it's fun. It's Duckpin Magic. Duckpin bowling is lots of fun for the whole family. There's no need to be an expert. Duckpin bowling is easy to learn, but it's the challenge that'll keep you coming back. Even little hands can control the ball in duckpin bowling. Join a league or we'll help you start one. And with duckpin bowling, there's more bowling for your buck. Discover duckpin bowling and you'll discover Duckpin Magic at any of these locations.
Hello, we'd like to clear up some misconceptions about duckpin bowling at Fair Lanes. This is a duck. This is a duck pin. Note the absence of webbed feet. This is a flock of ducks. This is a flock of duck pins. The object of duck pins is to hurl 3 balls, bang, 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 and knock them all down. Exhilarating. The object of ducks is to, well, to be ducks. Now you may proceed to Fair Lanes. We're quite sure you'll find duck pinning everything it's quacked up to be. Sorry.
Well, you heard us talk about him, and here he is, Chuck Tomney, Shenandoah, Virginia, Pro Tour winner. In fact, Chuck's single victory on the Pro Tour came on TV in Hagerstown, I believe, a couple of years ago. So he's been on TV before.
Chuck won a tour in Hagerstown, didn't
Right.
he? On TV.
Mentioned at length his exploits in the qualifying and how he went nearly 200 average in the first 4 games. Didn't do too bad in finishing up either. It's one of those things where you can relax. And he finished up, I believe it was around 16:04. Whoa!
Yeah, I was
included
really
a 104
surprised.
game.
Yeah. What was high qualifier, Mike? 88?
Bill Honeycutt was high qualifier with 1682.
Huh. Do you recall how many 1600s we had?
Hey, Danny
I
Shipley.
tell you, just very comfortably and fluidly,
Well,
perfect speed for his delivery.
Yeah, this is his house. He bowls here. In fact, lives very close by to the center because last night on the way out, after he came back in to check on the qualifying scores, somebody said, well, what if you have car trouble tomorrow? He says, I'll walk. He says, I'm only 2 minutes away. He said, I'm not going to miss it. He qualified in the previous tour stop as well, so he's been bowling well the last several months.
Yeah, I think it was a little while prior to that since he had qualified, and it gives you a little confidence, and it should be pretty high right now the way he's throwing the ball. You could almost see that when he humped up on it just a little bit, a couple more mile per hour, and the bowler that plays Danny's type of game, it's very important to keep that speed down.
Oh,
That's why we like to break 9, Mike.
Yeah. Well, that's why you like to throw strikes. Makes the game a lot easier, right? So Danny picks up $10. And Chuck will step back in. He's got a high sanction game of 237 and a high 3-game set of 569, averaging a little over 142.
Highest average 145, and I'm telling you that Chuck Tomney is better than that. When it comes to when they ring the bell and he shows up for the tournaments, he usually has to stick around the second day. One thing, I think that Chuck has such a good attitude for a young bowler. I say young, he's around 30, couple years old. But matter of fact, has a birthday. Had a birthday
This past week, yeah.
This weekend, right?
Yeah.
So
Had several bowlers who had birthdays this weekend. Danny Shipley's birthday was yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
Told me he was 29.
I know he's 31. I know for a fact. Because he's 2 years older than me, Mike. But we're speaking, Chuck's attitude is just super. I mean, the guy can, he catches bad tournaments just like we all do, and on his way out, you really don't know that. He doesn't take it home with him. You can pass him after 3 games and say, how you doing? And if he's going bad, he might just chuckle and say, not so well, you know, but it really keeps it in perspective.
There, you got
He
it.
did that a few times yesterday, huh?
Yeah.
If you watch when he grabs the ball, it disappears in his hand. You can hardly see no pinkish red, the color of the ball that he's holding.
There's Danny Shipley coming off his 191 game.
I tell you, Danny's doing a lot of things right that he did years ago. He's got the nice knee bend at the line and just sort of, I call it flopping the ball and not overthrowing it. Not a very pretty description when I say flop, but if the bowlers know what I mean. It's just a nice smooth stroke. Not trying to drill it down the lane.
Well, that's one thing about Westview here. They say you throw the ball well, you get what you deserve. It's a very fair house, and you get a lot of action down in the pits.
I'm sorry to hear that with the score I shot, but it's the truth. If you keep the ball in play and then shoot your spares, you're going to get your share. That's exactly right. It's you know, no matter what you start out with, if you can get in stroke and do what you need to do, you can catch up because it will relinquish the big games, as we saw. But Danny's just got to be careful not to let the adrenaline get going, and he's got to back his thing off a couple mile an hour. There you go. So you can tell. It's just that little extra, and the pins catch you much more often than we catch the bowler.
Well, bowling on lanes 35 and 36 here at Fair Lanes Westview, and Danny Shipley out of Catonsville, Maryland, picks up the mark. Of course, he's going to be a big favorite with the crowd because he bowls out of this house.
48 plus in the 4th for Danny, 29 plus for Chuck here, and a chance to take the lead with a spare. And of course, we know he knows how to throw doubles because you do not average close to 200 for 4 games without him.
Doubles and triples and who knows what else. Well, got 9 out of that. In fact, I'd say we had probably 3 or 4 people who put together as many as 6 strikes.
Well, I know Doug Shipley did it. He finished the game with 6.
Shipley did it. Wes O'Donnell did it earlier today.
Not to interrupt you, but look at the ball in Chuck's hand. You can't hardly see it. He's got a tremendous hand. Pretty big guy.
So he moves over to lane 35. He's put together a strike and a spare in the 3rd and 4th frames, or is it the 3rd and 4th frames?
1 pin lead, 49-48. Both bowlers working on a spare. Chuck's family, his daddy, a great bowler in his day, Leroy Tomney, and just a very similar personality, just a nice, easygoing guy from Virginia. They own a little bowling center down in Virginia.
Well, it's just like anything else. You get an early start. The particular game, as Chuck slides by to the right. Saw him do that a couple of times yesterday. That's the single that he did miss, off to the right-hand corner.
You hate to point it out when someone bowls as well as Chuck, but he lines up, and that is the pin he's lined up with, the number 6, number 9 in that area, and it is tough to throw a ball straight. I don't care if you're a pro or an amateur bowler. It is hard to throw a ball directly straight, and it's proven fact you should use angle.
Oh, Danny left himself with a spare the last time. Ooh, tough one.
That's all speed, Mike, with Danny's game. The ball was thrown a little bit harder, and it was just it wasn't in a full roll at the end of the lane, and it kicked off to the right. And as you saw, the pin comes back in front of the 5. Instead of pushing it back, it's sort of a glancing type blow.
Nice try there as he tried to pick up the 7. Will be open in this frame, but he can pull within 2 if he grabs the 7 pin, and he does. So we have a 2-pin match after 5 frames, 68-66, as you see there.
The score,
we 66, not 56.
10 pins off on the score. It was should have been 66, and they just carried forward with the 56. Pat Malton will straighten that out, I'm sure.
Waiting for the winner of this match is Tom Clauson out of Willimantic, Connecticut. Tom was actually the second highest qualifier with 16.25 for 10 games.
You see Danny breaking the 4.5 after the 5.7, and it's just simply that the adrenaline's moving. This game a little closer, and just hasn't started throwing any strikes yet. $75 for Danny, 6 frames. Chuck Tomney, 68 in the 5th. And this is sort of a ball when you jump up, you can't wait to get a hold of it. The bowler's sort of left a little opening, and you're looking for some breathing room. So I think you can look for Chuck to sort of hump up on this one a little bit. See a little more time, a little more concentration. And a pull.
Yep. Yeah.
Well,
Chuck
not
turned
bad.
around and left everything
well,
but one on the deck.
I'm sure he's pleased with what he's looking at, but he knows he just missed the pin that he was shooting at. So it takes a little extra concentration to hit this pin. Believe it or not, this can be a tough pin for the pro on the second ball. Bullseye.
Now it's important to take advantage of those kind of opportunities if you have them.
Well, it's 2. You're shooting at a spare, and also you're practicing for the ball he's about to throw, because you want to get back in stroke. You don't want to go over on the other lane and be fishing for that first ball. It's the biggest ball the pro throws. Spares are a very important part of this game, as we all know. But if you're not stroking that first ball, the spares are hard to hit.
Nope.
Wow, that hit that pretty hard.
Sure did.
7-9 remaining. And Chuck may be doing the same thing Danny's doing, even though Chuck's game is to throw the ball much faster than Danny does. He can still overthrow also, and if you watch the ball, it's a good color to see if it really gets into its roll before it gets to the pins.
Chuck Tomney. Now he'll shoot, pick up at least 1 pin here.
Let's see if he shoots the same pin again. I would think he will, but you
That's
never
the side
know.
that he has the treble on. And that's what he did yesterday when I saw him miss those single pins. He slides it by on the right side. So Danny Shipley steps in and has the opportunity now to take back the lead and take command of the match with a couple of marks.
Let's just flop back and forth with Danny taking the lead and Chuck taking it back, and there's a pretty ball. You see the difference? I mean, I don't know how many mile an hour it may be. 1, 2, maybe a half, but you can physically see that the ball has a little more time to get into the roll.
Be interesting to have a one of those radar guns.
It
the
sure
judge
would.
gun.
I would love to know, because I don't even know the average speed of the duckpin ball. I don't know if it's 16, 18. I think 10 pins claim that they're somewhere between 12 and 18 miles an hour, I think. I would imagine that we're pretty close to 80% faster than that. So I would say we're around a 30-mile-an-hour range. When Peter turns it loose, I know I wouldn't want to be in front of it. But
yeah, some of the big guys, Steve Iverone, Peter Pierce, they all sure exceed the 30-mile-an-hour range.
Well, and I bet we would be surprised the difference between, let's say, Danny and Peter. I'll bet it's not
More than just a couple of miles an hour?
Well, I think more than a couple, but I don't think it's like double. That's the way Pete throws it. It really doesn't have time to get revved up. It's already there.
Be interesting. We'll have to consider that. Maybe we can talk one of our local police departments out of a gun for a weekend.
I'll just speed to the next show, and when they pull me over, I'll bring him with me, you know. Okay, 10 for Danny. When he's striking, we have a one-pin match, 94-93. Chuck Tomney bowling frame 8, Danny 103 in the 8th. 10 would maintain a one-pin lead. That's not what Chuck's thinking right now. He's thinking 10, but it's with this ball.
Tom Clauson waiting in the wings for the winner. Push through the middle. And the result is that after 8 frames, we'll still have a very tight match.
Well, I think with the bowler right now, Chuck has to think, well, if I get 10, I still have a lead, and that's not a bad place to be, but 10's going to be a tough chore. I'm betting we have a tie game after this ball, Mike. He has the 2, 4, and 10 remaining.
So Chuck Tomney,
Well, and one pin lead by Danny, so 1 frame and it's swapped.
So Danny, all he did was sit out and take the lead by a single pin.
103, 102. Danny Shipley, 1 pin lead. Big frame for Chuck as he bowls the 9th frame. And
that's right, he decided he was going to bowl first, so it means he will finish last by bowling the 10th. And this is a pivotal part of the match right here. Ooh, well, that was close to disaster.
I bowled with Bobby Stockman yesterday, and he made the 7-10 twice.
Is that right?
For spares both times. He said that's 5 years worth. I don't want to break it again. Odds are against me.
Well, Chuck was looking at the 7-10, and fortunately for him, pin came sailing across the lane and took the 10 right out. So now he's just shooting at the 7 pin. Let's see his a little better success shooting the left-hand corner. Puts the mark on the board in the 9th, and now it's up to Danny Shipley. It's his match to win with a couple of big frames here.
Chuck's little boy, Charles Ross Tomney, will give him a little bit of business here, 21 months old.
Got a break there like Chuck did.
Had the 6 and 7, kicked out the 6. Here's where you find out if you're stroking the ball and you're mentally prepared, because just watch him, see if he has any hitch in his swing. I'm saying that he's going to hit it right on the button like he has all weekend.
Nope.
Got out of his hand a little early. All right, Danny has a big frame, the 10th frame, and if he can put a mark up and a big count on it, Chuck still has to do things right. You know, there you see the score. If Danny were to go 9, make it 9, that would give him 132, and Chuck would still need a mark. So it's as big as that spare was, you have to sort of leave it on lane 36 and go make a mark on lane 35, Danny's 10th frame.
Well, he's got another 1 pinner that he's just looking at here.
I would say if Danny were to pick a pin that he would like to shoot in this situation, it would probably be the 6.
The 6 rather than on the other side on the...
Very conducive to his stroke.
Well, let's see what happens here. Right on the nose. Well, he gets one more ball. He'll be looking for a big fill here.
Well, I tell you, anything 8 or 9, and Chuck has got to make a mark. So as much as it looked like Danny gave it away, I think that's a good position to be in. And once again, he bowled 9th and 10th frames first, and actually had 2 opportunities to turn the game around a little bit, or at least put some pressure on Chuck. Let's see what happens with this ball.
He's looking for the big fill. Ooh.
Well, Danny knows he made a mistake. Matter of fact, he made 2 in the 9th and 10th, and no one has to say a word. He knows exactly what happened, and now Chuck just wants to stay behind the foul line, not do what Danny just did. He does not want to rip 2 or 3 out of the middle or off the side, where he's going to be forced to make it. So relatively easy task, but yet it can be turned around with one ball. Well, folks, we got a match. He needs 10.
And I think he knows he needs the 10. So he checked for Tomney for the match here. Nope.
How big do you think that pin looks to him? Want to shoot it, Mike?
No,
He only
thanks.
needs it to win. The 7 pin's been a big pin in this match. Danny let it get away in frame number 9, and Chuck is shooting it for the right to go on to face Tommy Clauson.
He's got it.
Bullseye. They certainly made it exciting. 126, 125, Mike.
1 pin win for Chuck Tomney, and he'll go on to face Tom Clauson. You'll see all the action right after this.
There's no magic formula for catching big bass like these. It's really a matter of know-how, the kind of know-how that brings in big winnings for the pro anglers. I'm Ray Scott, and you can share the know-how that bass pros depend on when you join the Bass Anglers Sportsman Society. As a member, you get 10 big issues a year of Bassmaster magazine, packed cover to cover with the hottest bass catching how-tos, written and photographed by anglers for anglers. And each issue is the next best thing to a fishing trip with bassing greats like Roland Martin, Guido Hibden, and Larry Nixon. If you want to go for bigger bass, go for the best know-how. Join Bass today, and I'll send you this free gift. Here's how.
Call 1-800-826-1133 now to join BASS and get your free tackle pack with Berkeley's Power Worms, Cordell's Neon Spot, Berkeley's Trimax line, plus your free copy of Winning Secrets of the Classic Champs. With your $15 paid membership, you'll also receive 10 big issues of Bassmaster magazine and full membership credentials. Call 1-800-826-1133 now.
New from Kip Parker Films.
You asked for it, and now you're going to get it.
It's Wrestling Gold 2. More wrestling superstars. More heart-stopping video cassette excitement. More Wrestling Gold. We're talking non-stop pile-driving action with Bruiser Brody, King Kong Bundy, Wildfire Tommy Rich, Andre the Giant, Cowboy Bob Ellis, and Randy Macho Man Savage. Yes, they're all jam-packed into this video who's who of wrestling, culled from over 600 hours of rare vintage wrestling footage. But there's much more. Order now, and it's over the top ropes to the concrete floor with a second slamsational volume. Your ringside seat for Jerry Lawler, The Sheik, Austin Idol, Bobby Heenan, Nick Bockwinkel, and ravishing Rick Rude. But there's still more. Go head first to the buckle with the long-lost Hulk Hogan footage, highlighted by the legendary Terry the Hulk Boulder, Andre the Giant arm wrestling confrontation. There's never been anything like it before or since. How about a vicious shark cage match, or the only surviving footage of the infamous Wrestling Bear? It's all here in action so vivid, you'll beg for the bell. Not sold in any store. You get 2 uncensored videos, never before available, for just $29.95 complete. Satisfaction guaranteed. It's Wrestling Gold 2. Call our 24-hour hotline now.
To order your 2-volume set by credit card, call 1-800-952-3300 or send $29.95 plus $4.50 shipping and handling to Wrestling Gold 2, P.O. Box 10020, Stamford, Connecticut 06904. That's Wrestling Gold 2, P.O. Box 10020, Stamford, Connecticut 06904. Specify VHS or Beta. Sorry, no CODs.
Tom Clauson takes on Chuck Tomney here for the right to advance. Not to next week's show, but the week after. And continue to move up the ladder in search of the $5,000 first prize here in the 1990 Masters tournament. See Tom Clauson do that a lot. Had 16.25 in yesterday's qualifying.
Was there that much spread between first and second, between Bill Honeycutt?
Yep.
Wow. Bill bowled well, and that just shows you how well to spread the field by 60 pins. I think
Tommy
we're going to see a
starts quickly.
little higher scoring this game, Mike.
Yep.
Chuck ought to feel fortunate to still be around.
He asked us during the commercial break if that's what we wanted to keep things close, and we said, well, is that what you want? I don't know if your heart will take much more of that.
That'll be just what he needed to get him going here for a couple games.
He's been off the head pin to that left side by just a little bit.
Quite a few times for Chuck anyway. I mean, he beats on that front one probably 92% of the time, I'd say, over the stretch of the season.
Nice shot.
Okay, not exactly where Chuck wanted the ball, but the results are right. And
both bowlers open up quickly. Spares in the first.
If you see a bowler waiting once in a while and you wonder why he's not actually jumping up ready to throw the ball, we tend to wait for our second ball to start back before we throw the first one, because if it's not around, then you have to wait.
Hey, how about that?
You won't have to wait for the second one this time as he strikes kicking out the number 10, but it's so many times we'll throw our first ball and the second one's not there, and it really breaks your rhythm to wonder how long you're going to have to wait for it to get back. And when you're bowling one person on a lane in a head-to-head match like this, the machine's really not set up to send them back all that quickly, and ooh, look out. It's not going to be long enough.
Tom Clauson out of Willimantic, Connecticut. He's a model maker and machinist. Tom's bowling well lately. He's got a mark. So both bowlers mark in the first two frames. As Joe mentioned, you can look for a little bit higher score this game than the last one.
Tom Clauson with the high game of 257 and a high set of 599. Big numbers.
There you see one of the obstacles to a lot of the bowlers, that 7-8 combination left standing.
I tell you, Mike, in a good scoring house, as Fair Lanes Westview obviously is, that's going to happen. It's the quick pin action, and the pin comes off the wall. If we could slow it down and you could see it, and it drives the 4 or the 6, depending what side the split's on, right between them, and the pin keeps going, and on its way back, it's usually in front. So it's a quick split, and most houses, that's called the house special. No matter where you're at, that's called the house special, and it's just a part of this game. It's going to happen to you, and there's really not a lot you can do about it.
That's something new I learned. I thought the house special was up at the snack bar there. It's,
they would like it to be. Right, kicked another pin out.
Yeah. Chuck's been pretty fortunate with that the pin action, taking a pin out after the ball's already left the deck.
Yes, he actually won the last game with it, as he had the 7-10 in the 9th frame and kicked out the 10, and of course made the 7 for a spare.
All right, took advantage of it. Adds another mark to his count. It's 3 in a row for Chuck Tomney.
There you see it, 3-pin lead plus this ball for Chuck Tomney. There you see the 9-10.
That's the other side of the house special. Tom Clauson will step in. Tom opened up. Spares in the first and second, open in the third.
He'd like to put a couple marks together here, Mike, as he's fallen 11 pins behind. Bowling the fourth frame with 47 in the third. Chuck Tomney 68 through 4 frames.
I think you asked the question, Joe, who's going to be on the show next week, and lineup is one with some pretty good bowlers in it.
I would say we have Eddie Darling, Dale Guess, Bob Prando, and Hank Howard.
Of course, Hank is a 3-time winner in the Pro Tour, a member of the Hall of Fame, and certainly been around the game a long time.
Of course, the winner of this game will be back in a few weeks to bowl the winner of next week's
show as well.
Our format, as far as on TV, is almost impossible to explain how we come to the lineup of the bowlers, but it's done to make it possible for the
lower seeded bowlers to make it to the top.
Who won their division. It gives them a little better shot. They do not actually, the 13th bowler, seeded bowler, does not have to win 12 games to win this Pro Tour.
Right.
As we did some
in the
time
past,
back.
sure.
Yes, in the past, you'd actually have to win 12 games to go from the 13th, and I think we've cut it down to probably, 6 games?
Yeah, I believe somewhere in that area as Tom Clauson comes up with the 7. So after marks in the first 2 frames, Tom has been open 3 straight here. Now here's Chuck Tomney.
Chuck sees a big opening here as Tom Clauson had some problems over the last 3 frames, and with Chuck bowling 2 frames here, frames number 5 and 6, if he can mark in both of them, he can open up a considerable lead. And I do not believe he's going to mark in this frame, as all the pins he tripped got even with him right there. The 7, 9, and 10, and you'd be very fortunate to get 9 out of this.
That's the house special times 2 right there.
The name for that we can't repeat. It's not a house special.
Yeah, Chuck will just try to grab some pins here.
I call that a practice frame. You automatically get 2 more balls, and you can throw at anything you want.
Well, he practiced to the right.
Interesting to see what Chuck shoots. He always shoots the right side. Well, of course, he had 2 pins in the right corner. So if you made a mistake, you can still hit one. 67 to 76, and it actually got a little closer for Tom Clauson rather than Chuck increasing a lead. Mike, they're being awful nasty here at Westview. They're cooking popcorn. You smell the popcorn cooking?
Well, I think that's the whole point, isn't it? If you see the crowd disappearing, you'll know that that's where they're off to grab. Certainly way around noontime, which we are during the course of our taping, that we'll get people over to the snack bar. Heck of a marketing ploy there.
Yeah, pretty effective.
So
maybe
Chuck.
Guy going through the stands there with a tray, you know.
We'll look to finish up there, and he does with a mark. After being open for a couple of frames, puts his 4th mark on the board, 3rd spare. And Tommy Clauson will step in looking to get back in this match. He needs a mark of his own here. Although he's been pretty fortunate, Chuck really hasn't taken advantage of the situation. It's like Tom's aiming the ball a little bit here.
I really think both bowlers are, Mike. Chuck's just not as fluid as, tough. He's had 2 tough breaks on difficult spares, but he just hasn't been able to trip the pins out, which tells you that he's doing something a little different than yesterday, and you hate to keep relating to it, but generally, because of the cameras and the lighting and just the adrenaline flowing, it's caused by speed. Just tend to overthrow the ball under these conditions. And all of the games have stayed in reach. Of course, Danny won 191 to 134 his first game, as you see Tommy click a pin out.
Yep.
But it didn't happen until later in the game.
Well, now he's got to take advantage of this. He's got the 7 pin for a spare break, and he's got to put the mark up on the board. Oh, right on the money.
Bullseye. Big spare for Tom Clauson, frame number 7. There you see 87 plus, 86 plus, a frame earlier for Chuck Tomney as he's bowling frame number 7. counting on the mark in frame 6. Chuck's he's just sort of struggled along and made some marks, but hasn't been an explosive, impressive
really
type
been
game
dominant,
as he's capable of doing. There we see the 9-10 once again. One too many times as far as Chuck's concerned. Had the 7-9-10 the last time on this lane, so could say it's getting better, but 17-pin lead with that 8 count.
Whoa, what a try.
That would have made the 7-10.
Yep.
That would have made the 7-9. 104 after 7 frames for Chuck Tomney. There you see 87 plus for Tom Clauson in the 8th frame. Chuck Tomney trying to get it started here again.
I'll see if Chuck can get it going here. He's put marks back to back in the first 3 frames and hasn't done that since.
Whoa, right, gone.
Very hesitant, but finally went over.
Certainly was fighting back, wasn't it?
Pretty amazing how stable those pins really are. Sometimes they take quite a hit to stand up. Oh, look at that one.
Wow. Had the 5-6-10 momentarily.
And then something came through and cleaned everything out.
Best way to make it.
Well,
7-pin lead.
Both bowlers put strikes up on the board in the 8th. Once again, we have a close match heading into the last couple of frames. Now, Tom Clauson has put himself in this position by bowling first. He'll finish up in the 9th frame. Chuck will get up and bowl 9 and 10. And another one. Oh, gee.
Well, there's the weapon.
Chuck took a deep breath after that one.
Well, he moved a lot of pins around, Mike, on both of those strikes. I mean, it was not a matter of... And this is what makes the guy that's shooting the scores that these men have shot capable of doing it. Their pocket's big. You know, it's easy to throw, or we all throw the blow-off strike, 10 pins in the pit. But that's a small pocket. You need to expand that pocket so that you can throw it between the 2 and 3. Now you can freewheel, and things are going to happen like happened to Tom, where you catch the doubleheader both sides. He used the right side of the head pin light to catch the first strike, and the left side tight and caught the next one, or the right side tight, I'm sorry, and kicked out the 2-4 for the doubleheader. So it's a live ball more than the accuracy, and there you see the accuracy as it hurts.
Yep.
The pin, and that's his nemesis, that little cluster in that corner, that area around the 6 and 9.
.132 for Chuck as he enters the 10th frame.
The game's slipping away from him, Mike, as we saw Tommy Clauson throw the doubleheader, and there you see it on the screen. 117 plus a doubleheader for Tom, and he's going to take a considerable lead if he keeps that first ball in the pocket. Chuck could use a double right here. 19 or 20 frame, put him in the 50s. I would say Clauson's going to probably be in the 60s at a minimum, so Chuck has his work cut out. Tough break there. He needs to make this shot. 2, 3, 6, and 10. Just couldn't get right idea. Just couldn't get a pin off the rubber.
Yep. So Chuck will finish up here with this third ball. Will end up with a possible 142. And he's got it.
Not a bad game, but it's not going to be enough.
As you see how the scoring has gone so far, and Tom Clauson, who wanted to finish last, gets the opportunity. Of course, it helps because he strung 3 marks together, including a double in the last 3 frames. But
makes his frame a little easier to bowl. He just has to stay away from disaster. A little pull, but get away with it. Broke 5 off the left side. He's 132 and 5. He needs a few more pins, Mike.
that should help.
They put him at 150.
Third ball coming up. 151 for Tom Clauson, and he wins it. He'll go on in the tournament to compete for that $5,000 first prize. You'll see him back in a couple of weeks, and we'll wrap things up here at Fair Lanes Westview for this week right after this.
Looking for something fun to do? How about bowling? Bowl at Thunderhead Bowl for the best in duckpin and 10-pin bowling at 2 locations, both Westminster and Tomney Town. You can enjoy the league opportunities, which are always available for all ages at Thunderhead Bowl. And both locations are open 7 days a week with a snack bar and restaurant specials to ease the hunger as you have fun. The Pro Shop has a complete line of bowling equipment and accessories designed to improve your game. If you'd like information on open bowling, adult and youth leagues, contact Thunderhead Bowl, the family fun place.
Hello, we'd like to clear up some misconceptions about duckpin bowling at Fair Lanes. This is a duck. This is a duck pin. Note the absence of webbed feet. This is a flock of ducks. This is a flock of duck pins. The object of duck pins is to hurl 3 balls, bang, 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 and knock them all down. Exhilarating. The object of ducks is to, well, to be ducks. Now you may proceed to Fair Lanes. We're quite sure you'll find duck pinning everything it's quacked up to be. Sorry.
It's exciting, it's entertaining, it's challenging, it's fun. It's Duckpin Magic. Duckpin bowling is lots of fun for the whole family. There's no need to be an expert. Duckpin bowling is easy to learn, but it's the challenge that'll keep you coming back. Even little hands can control the ball in duckpin bowling. Join a league or we'll help you start one. And with duckpin bowling, there's more bowling for your buck. Discover duckpin bowling and you'll discover Duckpin Magic at any of these locations.
Hello, we'd like to clear up some misconceptions about duckpin bowling at Fair Lanes. This is a duck. This is a duck pin. Note the absence of webbed feet. This is a flock of ducks. This is a flock of duck pins. The object of duck pins is to hurl 3 balls, bang, 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 and knock them all down. Exhilarating. The object of ducks is to, well, to be ducks. Now you may proceed to Fair Lanes. We're quite sure you'll find duck pinning everything it's quacked up to be. Sorry.
It's exciting, it's entertaining, it's challenging, it's fun. It's Duckpin Magic. Duckpin bowling is lots of fun for the whole family. There's no need to be an expert. Duckpin bowling is easy to learn, but it's the challenge that'll keep you coming back. Even little hands can control the ball in duckpin bowling. Join a league or we'll help you start one. And with duckpin bowling, there's more bowling for your buck. Discover duckpin bowling and you'll discover Duckpin Magic at any of these locations.
Hello, we'd like to clear up some misconceptions about duckpin bowling at Fair Lanes. This is a duck. This is a duck pin. Note the absence of webbed feet. This is a flock of ducks. This is a flock of duck pins. The object of duck pins is to hurl 3 balls, bang, 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 and knock them all down. Exhilarating. The object of ducks is to, well, to be ducks. Now you may proceed to Fair Lanes. We're quite sure you'll find duck pinning everything it's quacked up to be. Sorry.
Welcome back to Fair Lanes Westview. We've got 4 new bowlers for you to watch next week when we return with Duckpin Magic. So for Joe Rainier, I'm Mike Sellis. See you again next time, everybody.
Wet and Wild Water Sports.